Okay, first graders, we are going to write an expository text or an informative text this week about polar bears. So we are going to use some polar bear reading material. We're going to use this Scholastic News. So if you have it available, then you can follow along with that. And then of course you're going to need your journal and a pencil. Are you ready? Let's start. So we are going to start by finding the first empty page we have in our journal, and we are going to make a foursquare. So right here in the middle, we're going to write our topic, and I'm going to go right in the middle. Don't write it way over on the side, or the next part you're not able to draw your lines as well. So let's come right in the middle, and we're going to write polar bears. And it's our title of this foursquare, so it's okay to have them capitalized. Okay, put it in a box. And then let's break it into our 4 sections. Okay, now last time we did a foursquare, we started with putting our 5 senses out there. And we're not going to start with that today, but every time we write down, we're going to come up with 4 facts or 4 details we learned about polar bears. And every time we do one of these and add one of these to one of the boxes, we are going to also add which sense it is using, okay? Because if it doesn't connect to one of the 5 senses, then it might not be a fact. So we're going to focus still on facts that connect to our 5 senses. Okay, so we have our Scholastic News, the coolest bears. Polar bears live in the ice and snow. But that isn't the only reason they are cool. Okay, so we learned something there, but we're going to wait to the end and then decide which things we want to record in our foursquare. Okay, so I'm going to make this so you can see the whole thing better. Okay, so number 1 says they have amazing bodies. Polar bears' bodies keep them warm. They have fat under their skin. It is like a warm winter coat. Polar bears have thick fur too. They even have fur between their toes. That keeps their paws from freezing on the ice. And we can see here they have a little label pointing to the toes, and it says furry toes. Okay, so looking in that section 1, what did you think was the most important thing we learned there, or the most interesting thing we learned there? I think the most interesting thing was that they have fur between their toes. I think that is so fun. So if you had a different thought, that's fine too, but that's the one I'm going to write down. Okay, and it's something I can see. So something I can see about polar bears is that they have furry toes or fur between their toes. So I'm going to use the words here, fur between their toes, and I'm going to write them in my notes. Fur between their toes. There we go. Okay, let's come down to number 2. They are great swimmers. Polar bears live near icy water. They plunge into the water. They use their big paws to paddle. They can swim for days. Their fur is waterproof. It keeps out water. Polar bears don't get too wet or too cold. Okay, what was the most interesting thing that you learned about polar bears in that section? There are two that I really liked, but I'm only going to pick one of them. One is that polar bears can swim for days. I thought that was amazing. Another is that their fur is waterproof. Sometimes I wish my skin was waterproof so when I went swimming, I wouldn't get so cold. The water would just come right off when I got out of the pool. That would be nice. That's the one I think I'm going to write, is fur is waterproof. Okay, so I'm going to use those words and I'm going to write them in this section. Now I have to think before I write it down which of my 5 senses could help me confirm that and know it's true. Now we could say that it's something I can see, that the water's all coming off, but I also think it's important to realize that we could feel their fur when they come out of the water and find out that it's not super wet. And it also affects the polar bear's sense of touch because they don't have the feeling of being wet either. Okay, so I'm going to say that this one goes with the sense of touch. So I'm going to draw a little hand here. Okay, and I'm going to say that the fur is waterproof. Okay. Okay, let's go to number 3. They dig cool dens. Polar bears dig dens in the snow. Oops. A den is a cozy cave. Polar bears' moms have babies in the den. The babies are called cubs. They all cuddle up to stay warm. Okay, what did you think was the most interesting from that section? I just think it's fun to know what different baby animals are called. So the fact that they say these babies are called cubs, that is going to be the information I want to make sure other people know too when I'm sharing facts. So I'm going to come down here. If somebody is called something, which of my senses is that going to go along with? I'm going to say it's going to go along with my hearing, okay? If I hear someone talking about baby polar bears, I'm going to hear them call them cubs. So I'm going to say babies are called cubs. Okay. Okay, number 4. They are good moms. In spring, polar bear moms dig out of the den. Phew, excuse me. The cubs come out too. The cubs follow their mom. She teaches them to swim and to hunt for seals. Okay, can you apply one of the five senses to something in that? We could say our eyes can watch them come out of the den with their cubs, or we could say we could watch them with our eyes to say the cubs follow their mom. What about this one? She teaches them to swim and to hunt for seals. Now that's something we could see with our eyes, but for the polar bears, that is affecting their sense of taste. Because if they're hunting for seals, we just learned what they eat. What do polar bears eat? Seals. So that information we're able to infer. It didn't specifically say polar bears eat seals, but we were able to infer from their information that polar bears hunt seals that they eat seals. So I am going to write down eat seals to go with my sense of taste on this one, okay? So I used the sense of sight, the sense of touch, the sense of hearing or sound, and the sense of taste to find facts about polar bears. And we're going to look at number 5 too. They dance! Well, not really. These pictures show a polar bear trying to stand up. The bear looks like it is dancing. Could you dance like a polar bear? Okay, so for that one, we really didn't learn a new fact because they don't actually dance. But we do have the opinion of the people who wrote this. They think it looks like dancing. Maybe you think it looks like something else, okay? Because it's not a fact, it's how we think or feel about what we see, okay? And then on the back, you can answer these fun questions about a polar bear on your own. And remember, you can also look at Scholastic News on the website, okay? So make sure that you keep that option in mind as well. But for right now, we have created our graphic organizer about polar bears. Let's look at it one more time. We see that polar bears have fur between their toes. Polar bears have fur that is waterproof. Polar bears have babies called cubs. Polar bears eat seals. So here we have 4 facts about polar bears. And in the next couple of days, we will work on putting those facts into a paragraph. Happy learning!